It's almost time for the successor to the S24 series phones. We're expecting the S25, S25 Ultra to launch in just a couple of weeks. And I think there's room for a lot of excitement here. And generally, I think the S24 Ultra, pretty positive response with the phone, other than a couple things in the beginning, like the issue with the vividness on the screen, which Samsung came up with a quick fix for. But the S25, I think, is primed for another good year. The S23 sales were down a little bit, if I can remember correctly, but the S24 Ultra beat expectations. They sold a little bit more, and they've got an opening here because the iPhone, I don't think it performed quite as well as Apple thought that it would. It's had issues with iOS 18. There's been a general lack of, I think, enthusiasm because people get tired of the same old, and look for something different. There's been a lot of different options, like the S24 Ultra, like the exciting Pixel 9, Pixel 9 Pro series phones that came out. Those have done a great job. So we've seen around the market some upticks with these other brands and a slight downtick with Apple, which I mean, there's some stuff that said 5%, something about that, 4%. So there was a slight reduction in sales, but the S25, I think, can capitalize on this with the excitement of the new Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. And I've tested this in quite a few phones already, and it's made for some pretty fun stuff. Like, it's very powerful, more power efficient. It's more powerful. I mean, shoot, the chip goes up to like 4.3 gigahertz versus 4.32, I think, is the top end, and versus like the 3.3, 3.36 that we got with the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3. So we're expecting more power, better efficiency, and it should finally bring us console-level gaming on the phone, which we've seen some of this with the iPhone, with the A17, A18 Bionics, and we've seen some re-releases with like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and things like that. So I think they're on a good track here, and I think because of the lack of enthusiasm for Apple with the positive response with the S24, I'm hoping that we'll see another resurgence of this, and maybe they'll beat expectations. And what a video I made the other day, the foldables actually missed expectations by quite a bit. They've been having a hard time selling them, and I think a lot of that, of course, is due to, one, the price increase, two, it's a $2,000 phone essentially, and most of their customers they rely on are year-over-year people who keep just buying new phones, which I'm in that category for sure. But more people buy the S series, of course, by a wide margin than they do the foldable phones. A lot of people look at Samsung as being the standard bearer for Android. Even though, of course, Google makes Android, Google makes the Pixel phones, Samsung has for the longest time been synonymous with Android. And then, of course, we saw they added a lot of different things. You got the anti-reflective screen. We had other great things like they added the titanium. They changed the appearance just a little bit. And positively, I think it's been a pretty good phone. Other than the 200 megapixel camera, they've been having a hard time dialing that in and getting it to perfection. And I made a video about this too, talking about how they need to improve the cameras. So if they can dial that in, have a better response, better performance with the cameras this go around, I think that that will do a lot to help solidify their position and also make more people interested in wanting to buy one, more than people who want them already. And it's crazy. There's really only two phones that kind of garner that type of attention. When we have the Apple sales, of course, people go like crazy to the stores and all that stuff. They don't do that so much with Samsung, but Samsung sells a lot of stinking phones. And the S series, I talk about this all the time. They come out at the beginning of the year, but even by the time the end of the year comes around, they're still in conversation for best phone of the year. Even though other phones come out, so many of them throughout the entire year, I think it says a lot about Samsung and what they do with their products, that they can continue to be in that topic of conversation, top two, top one, top three. A lot of people think the S25 or S24 Ultra is the phone of the year for 2024. And I mean, that's certainly up for debate. It's been a very, very good device, and it offers a lot of stuff that other phones don't, especially here in the United States. And I think that's one thing that helps insulate them is lack of competition from outside markets. Samsung, they're based in South Korea. They're a global phone manufacturer, and they've got phones at all different price points. They got the A series out the wazoo, the A20, A30, A50, all that stuff. And then they've got the S series, and they've got so many of those. And then the advent of Samsung Galaxy AI, which I think has been pretty popular. And it's funny because I think a lot of people at Samsung thought that the uptick in sales was attributable to the AI. I don't think it was as big of a selling point just as it was. There were so many nice things that they upgraded and they fixed and they made super premium with the S series. So we'll see what happens as we get there. I'll have more information because we all know that Samsung does the reserve your pre-order campaign, and I usually pretty aggressively push this because they always have good deals, right? If you buy it from Samsung, they always have exclusive colors, like double your storage, all those different things. We haven't seen any of that stuff yet, but once it starts, they'll have the whole process. Largely what happens is if you reserve your pre-order, all you'll have to do is put in like your name and your email address. They don't want your social security number, your debit card information. They don't want your the middle name of your firstborn kid. They're pretty simple about it. But if you reserve your pre-order, then usually they'll give you like an extra $50 in credit or $50 towards accessories or whatever. So it's always an exciting time as we get to this point in time for the year because it's really nothing like it in the Android world. Samsung does it big and they do it better than pretty much everybody else in that regard, especially in the United States. They sell so many phones. They've got them in all the carriers. It's not just something that's on a store shelf at Best Buy. You can walk into T-Mobile, you can walk into AT&T, you can walk into Verizon, wherever else, and get one of these suckers, even the Samsung Experience stores. So I'm excited about it, and it'll be neat to see what they do. I haven't really paid too close attention to the rumors because a lot of it's really difficult, right? I mean, there's stuff that are like, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is going to happen, and then we show up on launch day, and it's like, okay, some of that stuff didn't come true. So I don't rely too heavily on the rumors, but I am excited about it, and the Samsung launches are always fun. So I'm curious also to see what happens because there is rumor on that same topic of discussion that we're likely to see 4 different models. So we know we get the regular, the Plus, the Ultra, and then supposedly we might get to see this new Samsung Galaxy S25 Slim, which might launch a little bit later in the year, but supposedly they're going to show it off, which would be something that would be interesting to see. If it happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, whatever. I don't really put too much stock in it, and I'm not really that interested because the idea of this slim phone, we're hearing this from Samsung, we're hearing this from Apple with regard to a Samsung S25 Slim, an iPhone 17 Slim. Slim usually doesn't have good connotations whenever we talk about the phones because they're already pretty slim, right? They're already pretty slim, they're pretty compact. But if you make it even thinner, that means that you might have structural problems. It might be easier to bend or damage. They might have to go cheaper on some of the products or thinner to try and make them. It might degrade the performance. We might have more heat issues. They might have smaller cameras because there's not enough space for the Ultra series cameras. So I am reserving judgment on the idea of a slim phone, but it'll be interesting to see if we see it. And also, I saw an article yesterday talking about possibility of a Galaxy Ring 2 already, which would be interesting because the Galaxy Ring just launched this past summer with the Fold and Flip series phones. So that might be kind of early to go ahead and give us a second generation of a Ring, which I thought the Ring was pretty cool. I felt like the biometrics tracking and some of it was not as accurate as my actual watch was, so I kind of just prefer the watch. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what we get. We'll see when the pre-orders start. We'll see when the reserve your pre-order starts. We'll see what new things come out. But watch this space and pay attention because we're right on the cusp of this stuff. I mean, shoot, CES is in a couple of days, and then supposedly we're supposed to have the launch of the phone later this month. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen over the next couple of weeks as we lead up to this period where we get to start and kick off the year. And it's fun. I mean, and also we're going to see the OnePlus 13 soon. I believe the 7th is the day that that's supposed to be showing up. So that's actually kicking off pretty early this year too. So it'll be really exciting already right out the gate as we're in January. We just started the new year. We're already talking about the OnePlus. We're talking about the S25 series phones. And things are going to get a good jump start. So hopefully you saved a couple of dollars if you're waiting to get a phone. I know there's been a lot of topic of discussion. I've had a lot of people ask me questions the last couple of weeks. Should you wait? Should you wait? And generally at this point in time, I'm like, you probably should. If you're 6 months out, I get people like, should I wait for the S25? Well, if you need a new phone 6 months out, maybe you shouldn't wait that long. But if it comes to like November, December, and you waited through the iPhone, you waited through the Pixel, and you want to see what Samsung has to offer, you're going to find out real soon, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. Hopefully you had a wonderful and happy New Year's Eve. Hopefully you had a great Christmas, and hopefully your New Year's starting off on a great foot and full of enthusiasm, ready to get back to work, ready to get back to normal day-to-day life as we've made it through the holidays, which I know are always a stressful time of year. So Hopefully you were safe, had a great time, and you're ready to kick off this year with a bang. So, as always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.